You know, when we hear the word alchemy, our minds usually jump to dusty labs and old wizards, trying to turn lead into gold. But what if that was all just a metaphor? What if the real transformation wasn't about metal at all, but about the human soul? According to the brilliant psychologist Carl Jung, the alchemists were actually pioneers of the psyche. They weren't failed chemists, they were mapping the deep, messy, and incredible process of human transformation. And they left us their map, written in a rich, symbolic language. Today, we're going to learn how to read it. Right at the very heart of this entire mysterious art is one single, incredibly powerful idea, the chemical marriage, or the chemical wedding. This is it. This is the grand finale, the entire goal of what they called the great work. And as Jung realized, this isn't about a chemical reaction in a flask. It's a profound psychological event. It's about the integration of the deepest, most conflicting parts of who we are. So what is this marriage really? Well, it's the union of opposites, and I mean the big ones, light and dark, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious. For the alchemists and for Jung, the real secret, the true gold, was figuring out how to get these warring forces inside of us to stop fighting and come together in a harmonious whole. That's how you create an integrated self. But, to understand the wedding, we first have to meet the bride and groom.
So let's start with the first major player in this cosmic drama, Sol, the sun, the alchemical symbol for gold, for light, and for the masculine principle.
Okay, what you're looking at here is basically the fundamental conflict of the human psyche laid out in alchemical terms. On one side, you've got Sol, the sun, masculine, active, bright. That's the world of our consciousness. And on the other, you have Luna, the moon, feminine, passive, dark, the world of the unconscious. But look at that last pairing, because it's absolutely crucial. Sol's power is discrimination, the ability to analyze, to separate, to make distinctions. Luna's power is union, the ability to connect, to merge, to blur boundaries. These are the two primary forces at war inside every one of us.
So to put this in modern Jungian terms, Sol is the part of you that's listening to me right now. It's your ego. It's your conscious mind. It's the I that you think of as yourself. It's the part that navigates the world, makes the decisions, and shines its little beam of awareness on everything. You could say it's the king of your inner kingdom. But here's the alchemical twist, the paradox that changes everything. Even the sun, the very source of all light, has a shadow. Now, this isn't just some nice poetry. For the alchemists, this was a critical operational secret. The sun, our consciousness, isn't purely good or purely light. To get anywhere, to achieve any kind of perfection, you have to confront its hidden darkness. And this darkness has a name, the soul Niger, the black sun. This is the shadow side of our bright, shiny ego. It's all the hidden, destructive, repressed parts of our personality. It's the part of that good king who is also secretly a tyrant. The alchemists were adamant about this. You will never create gold until you first confront this inner darkness, this state of death and decay they called the negretto. There's no way around it.
All right, so we've met the king and his dark shadow. Now it's time to meet his counterpart. We have to go deep now, into the realm of Luna, the moon, the great symbol of the feminine mystery.
If Sol is the bright, focused spotlight of consciousness, then Luna is everything else. She is the vast, dark ocean of the unconscious that consciousness itself is born from. She is the mother, the sister, and the eventual bride of the sun. And she doesn't create her own light, right? She only reflects his, acting as this massive, universal container for everything hidden in the psyche, our dreams, our instincts, our deepest memories. But just like Sol, Luna has a shocking duality. Of course she does. On one hand, she's the gentle, nurturing mother, the giver of life. But on the other, she's the dark goddess Hecate, the baying bitch of the underworld, associated with witchcraft, madness, and poison. She is both the loving bride and the devouring mother. And that's the terrifying paradox of the unconscious, isn't it? It's the source of all our creativity in life, but it's also the source of our deepest fears and darkest impulses. Okay, so let's take stock. We have these two powerful warring opposites, a sun that has a dark shadow and a moon that can be both nurturing and absolutely terrifying. How in the world do you unite them? Well, the alchemist had a secret ingredient, a third element that makes the whole thing possible:
sal or salt.
The absolute defining quality of salt is its bitterness, what the alchemists called its amartudo. Psychologically, this bitterness is the painful sting of self-realization. It's that awful gut punch feeling when you have to face a hard truth about yourself. It's the discomfort of looking at your own flaws, what they called the worm of conscience that gnaws at you when you finally see the parts of yourself you've been trying so hard to ignore.
But here's the alchemical magic. This bitterness isn't a dead end. It's the starting line. The journey starts with that raw, painful shock. And if you just leave it there, it's just pain. But if you hold it, it forces you to start differentiating your feelings, to really understand the nuance of what's happening. That leads to reflection and insight, where your conscious mind starts working with the emotional experience, asking why. And through that incredible process, the initial bitterness is transformed into its polar opposite, sapientia, or wisdom. The pain literally becomes the medicine. And that is why salt is the indispensable element. It's the wisdom that you gain through painful lived experience. And that's the only thing that allows the dead parts of your psyche to be resurrected and brought back into the whole. Without this earthy, bitter, grounding wisdom, the union of Sol and Luna is just impossible. They would literally destroy each other.
So now, with all the pieces in place, the sun of consciousness, the moon of the unconscious, and the transformative wisdom of salt to bring them together, we finally arrive at the culmination of the entire work. The chemical marriage can at last be consummated.
Now, to really grasp how radical this vision was, Jung liked to contrast it with the dominant spiritual model of the time. The Christian schema is a trinity, 3 parts, a spiritual reality that descends from heaven down to earth. But the alchemical schema is a quaternity. It has 4 parts. And what's the 4th element that alchemy includes? It's the one that's usually excluded: the devil, the shadow, the feminine, the darkness of matter itself. Alchemy wasn't just about spirit coming down, it was about raising the spirit that was hidden within matter back up.
So what is born from this sacred marriage? What is the child? Well, it's the most legendary object in all of alchemy, the Philosopher's Stone, the Lapis Philosophorum. And now we know what it really is. It isn't a magical rock. It's the ultimate symbol for psychological wholeness. It is the integrated self with a capital S, the totality of your personality, born from the union of all your warring opposites.
This is the real treasure, the lapis. Just imagine for a second what that would feel like. A state of being where you're no longer at war with yourself, where your conscious mind works in perfect harmony with the vast intelligence of your unconscious, where your thinking is balanced by your feeling. You don't get rid of your shadow, no. You acknowledge it, you learn from it, and you integrate its power. This is what the alchemists meant when they talked about creating a whole person. In the end, the alchemists were projecting their own inner drama onto the bubbling liquids in their labs. They were looking into matter and seeing a reflection of their own soul. They truly believed that as they transformed the elements, they were transforming themselves. So the final question really is for you. This ancient map of the soul isn't just a historical curiosity, it's a living process. What are the opposites at war inside of you? And what is that bitter salt of experience that might just be the key to your own great work?